Okusooka mu ttongole mbadde njagala Paalamenti etegeere Dr. Besigye nti yawambibwa okuva e Kenya. Kigende mu bitabo likodi za Paalamenti nti mu mwaka guno 2004 mwezi gwa 11 waliwo Uganda ogenda e Kenya newambayo omukulembeze. Ekyokubiri, gavumenti tenakufulumya kiwandiiko kitongole yeebuzaabuza bwebuzaabuza olwaleero owulira kulayi gy'ayogera enkya owulira bali omu nsi. Twagala baveeyo n'ekiwandiiko ekitongole kuba bino ebintu tebinakuggwa. Tugenda kutwala gavumenti ya Kenya n'eya Uganda mu kooti zonna eza East Africa n'ez'ensi yonna. Ensonga ezibaddemu enkulu okusooka ensonga eyo gisa ku likodi ya Paalamenti. Ekyokubiri, gavumenti okujja mu butongole n'etubuulira eyitira mu nkola kyogenda e Kenya n'ewambayo abantu ne bakomyawo. Era ne Kenya nsabye Paalamenti ebuuze Kenya baba na Uganda bakyasobola ogenda e Kenya ne babeerayo mu mirembe. Kubanga bwe baba basobola okuwamba 36 ne bawamba Dr. Besigye, olumbanyije n'okubanga bawamba abantu ba bulijjo abalala ne tutamanya. Kakati ebintu ebyo bisatu byebibadde ebikulu olwaleero mu statement. Ekirungi Speaker agambye nti Minister wa Foreign Affairs, Minister wa Internal Affairs bonna bajje batunnyonnyola. Kayinda otafiire namulabye ayogera mawulire ng'agamba Minister wa Internal Affairs nti yabuuziza aba immigration mu Uganda ne Kenya namugamba nti balabangako Besigye na mmundu. Ebyo tubyagala ku likodi ya Paalamenti si kubyogerera eyo. Ayino bireetawo neggwanga yonna ne limanya kati gavumenti neetubuulira Besigye mundu yazijewa zaatalava nazo ntebe zaatayingira nazo Kenya. Bagezaako okwekweka naye kino si kyangu kubanga omuntu oba wabuuza nti yayingira atya mu Uganda nga mu passport ye tebatadde mu stamp, ekyo kiri mu kooti. Teeka kiri bayitamu okomyawo kwa Besigye tekuli mu kooti. Twagala batubuulire nti twagoberera tteeka lino okusobola okukomyawo Besigye mu Uganda. Era batubuulire kubanga tuyina endagaano ne Kenya eyo extradition treaty. Bwe tulina omuntu gwe twetaaga Kenya nga ayina emisango tuyitira mu eyo nga balaba twayitira mu gye tulina Tanzania okukomyawo Jamiru mukulu. Kati bwe twagala batubuulire ebya kooti bikwatagana ne bwe banaagezaako okwekweka ensonga eno egenda kubabeerera nnene nga si nnyangu ya kwekweka. Paalamenti nga situnaagenda mu luwummula nagisaba wano gavumenti egyetunnyonnyole okusooka okutyoboola eddembe ly'obuntu okugenze kweyongera. Ensonga gye nabawa ku olwo kwali kusibibwa kwaffe nze Honorable Kamara n'abalala nga tugenda ku embasa ya Kenya. Naye ne magamba bajje batunnyonnyole enkola kati erabiseewo ey'okutulugunya abantu n'omala n'obakaka bakkirize emisango gye bataakola Museveni asobola obbawa pardon. Kye mbadde nziramu olwaleero batubuulire minisita wa gavumenti yatandika ati ogenda mu makomera okutandika okuteeka abantu ku bunkenke batandika okukkiriza emisango gye batazza. Twavaawo ku mulundi guli nga gavumenti egambye egenda kuleeta ekiwandiiko katusubire ku lwokubiri abaana bazze n'ensonga bagenda kuginnyonnyola.
Nze ndowooza nti Speaker wa Paalamenti ekintu kino akivuvunze nnyo. Esookera ddala nti watandise okubeerawo obweraliikirivu eri bannayuganda naddala abagenda e Kenya ne mawanga amalala nga Tanzania nti omuntu ajja kutuuka agende ali ku mirembe gye aveeyo ng'ate bamutaddeko omusango. Kubanga twakirabyeko ku Dr. Besigye nti engeri gye bamukutemu nti omuntu newabanga olina ky'obadde omuvunaana waliwo amateeka agafuga entambuza y'ensonga eyo paka lwatuuka eno gy'omwagala abeere. Naye kati bw'oyanga omukutte bukwasi passport ozirese mu luumu ye kwegamba n'olabanga amateeka mangi agamenyeddwa. Tulowooza nti Uganda yalibadde efugibwa mu mateeka. Kye tusinga okubeera nga twagala kubanga bwe tutalwanirire kulaba nga Uganda ebeera mu nfuga y'amateeka buli muntu agenda kukosebwa n'abasuubuzi ojja kwesanga nga babayoledde gye banaabayolera nga bakomezawo mu Uganda nti ate balina bye badde babbye mu mawanga ag'enjawulo. So ndowooza nti nno minisita statement eyo yalibadde agireeta na lunaku lwankya naye batugambye ajja gireeta lunaku lwakubiri. Ffe ku lwaffe tulowooza nti kikosezza nnyo ekifaananyi kyaffe ekya Uganda naddala mu mawanga g'ebweru. Of course statement yo katemala wabula alina okujja n'annyonnyola abantu baffe gye bali naddala abo abaabuzibwawo ate n'abamu ku abo abaana batanaba kubeera nga bata okuva mu makomera abaasibwa obwereere olw'ebyobufuzi. Kye tumwagalamu kyokka ekyo bw'anaaba akikoze ajja kuba atuyambye n'okuyamba eggwanga lyonna confidence ekome mu bannayuganda.
Ezimu ku nsonga ze tunokoddeyo olwaleero kuba gavumenti ebadde tugamba nti ensonga ez'abantu abaabuzibwawo ne ba political prisoners zaggwa dda. Bajjukiza ne mbagamba nedda teziggwa zitya kubanga twali wano gavumenti nga mulina okunoonyereza balamu olwamala okumulayizaawo n'akyamuukirira n'agamba mumpe lisiti dola namujjukiza ne mugaa kirabika gwe okyalimu okukyamuukirira tomanyi ngeri gye tutambula lisiti twagiwa prime minister twagiwa erimu library ya parliament byonna nine nga kale okujjawo olwekwaso kanzire mungi tabling waleme kubeerawo olwekwaso kati nga twagala ajatuwe accountability ajatuwe feedback bituuseewa ajatubuulire nti akyo nakola kugenda mu kkomera kukakaabo abaana be basiba nti bannaye mukirize emisango gino kubanga wayisewo emyaka ena tewali bujulizi era tebuliyo tebujja kuleetebwa mukirize bukkiriza emisango gibake mu vi twagala ajja bitunnyonnyole byonna atunnyonnyole ne baana abaabuzibwawo wadde kiri ku baana abali mu kkomera bokka ne ba John Bosco Kibalama prime minister yatugamba nti awo oyo gavumenti yamukwata era mukwate twagala gavumenti etubuulire oba eyise mu balamu oba eyise mwani batunnyonnyole abantu abo abaabuzibwawo baliwa songa mbategeeza nti ensonga ezo tezinnagwa gavumenti eyagala nnyo tubyerabire kyobudola batusigala tubyogerako oba ku zi press conference eyo ne tutegeka okusaba bwe tukomawo mu paalamenti tujja sigala nga tubajjukiza kubanga baagala ensonga eyo tugiveeko tugyerabire titugenda kugivaako ensonga endala gye twogeddeko wano ku floor ya paalamenti ya engeri Dr. Kizza Besigye yakwatibwa ng'ali e Kenya kubanga twafuna obubaka nitutegeera nti gavumenti ya Kenya ng'eyita mu principal secretary wa foreign affairs mukulu bamuyita Korir Lusonge yagamba nti gavumenti ya Kenya teyabyetabaamu ebyokuwamba Dr. Kizza Besigye kati twagala gavumenti etunnyonnyole kyajja kitya baagenda mu Kenya era batya nga bayita mateeka ki okuwambayo Dr. Kizza Besigye n'abalabe baawamba ku luli lwekwaso gwe balina nti kakati Dr. Kizza Besigye yali ayina emmundu nzize nkyogera nenga nti kakati Dr. Kizza Besigye yayita ku airport ya wano n'agenda kyebagamba nti yayinya ennyonyi ng'ayina emmundu tebamucekinga yabaffe kale katugaye bamusanze n'emmundu nokubadde bijingirire nze nkimanyi bijingirire naye bw'omusanga n'emmundu e Kenya bikukwatirako wago gavumenti ya Uganda mbadde mmanyi gavumenti ya Kenya erina okwemulugunya naye byonna ebyo nga twagala gavumenti eno ekitutegeeze eyita mu mateeka ki ogende Kenya okuwambayo bannansi kuba kati tuli mu East African Community bannayuganda bagende Kenya ku nsonga ez'enjawulo abamukola bizinesi abamu kusoma abamu kukola ki kati bannayuganda batandika okweraliikirira nti owa tujja gende Kenya batuwambeyo era nga tugamba ne gavumenti ya Kenya teyinza kukoma kugamba nti wayi tetubimanyiiko era tumanyi gavumenti ya Uganda aba security baayo bajja batya eno ne bawamba abantu toyinza kukoma ku ekyo kiba kitegeeza tuli in charge of eggwanga lyo ensonga ezo zonna tulinze report batunnyonnyole byajja bitya omanyi bwe twava wano ku nsonga ez'emmwanyi sipiika yatusindika mu recess oza n'alowooza kati bw'onaayitawo akaseera bwe tunaakomerawo nga tubyerabidde nga tuzze ku birala mbadde mujjukiza nti nedda ensonga ezo tezinnaggwa twagala okutegeera baani abaalumba paalamenti wano ne bagoba bannamawulire ne bajjako amataala ne batandika okutulugunya okuwamba n'ababaka n'abakyala ne bayuza engoye zaabwe nga bwe mulabye twagala okunnyonnyolebwa kubanga yagamba mu kiseera ekyo nti ebigambo byonna bye nayogera bijjibweko ku Hansard nkumyewo leero okubizza ku Hansard era nga njagala tunnyonnyole kale bw'oba ogamba nti kyenayogera nti ba security tekyali kituufu tubuulire gwe sipiika baali baani abo era nga saagala yebuzaabuzi kuba bayinza okugamba nti mu kaseera ako kamera za paalamenti oba zaali zifuddemu oba nga tezikola nenkwata obutambi nabuteeka ku CD ne flash disk oba kozesa kompyuta oba kompyuta tekozesa flash ejja kukozesa CD oba ki nembitebulling obujulizi weebuli twagala batuwulire baani abalumba paalamenti wano era n'ebirala byagamba nti kuba namulumiriza neŋŋamba ebigambo byewakozesa titwagala abaganda abo bafune ennamba buba busosoze mu mawanga naga nti ebyo byonna nabyo babisiimuleko ku Hansard tebyali bituufu era naga nti mba nina obujulizi mbumuleetedde butadde ku flash disk ne ku CD nembutebulinga kuliko amaloboozi g'evidiyo nga ziraga sipiika ali mu paalamenti aga nti abaganda abo tumekinge sure tebafuna nnamba naki kubanga yagamba nti obujulizi obunajja ajja kwetonda mbuleese kuba saagala babeerewo kwebuzaabuza ekya motion kuba kwebuzaabuza kubanga mu nsala ye ku lunaku luli yagamba nti bwe nnaaleeta obujulizi ensonga ezo ajja kuzirambulula obulungi era yeetonde teyayogera ku motion era tekiitagisa kuyita motion kubanga tugoberera biki byayogera ebirine ku Hansard naki so nze ngambye luli wansoomooza ndeeta obujulizi mbukuleetedde lwaki oba oyagala tuyite mu motion ye sigamye nti tuyinza kuyita mu motion tusobola naye yansomooza ndeeta obujulizi. Teyagamba nti leeta obujulizi ng'oyise mu motion, yagamba bugambi leeta obujulizi. Ndowooza sijja buleeta, kati mbumuleetedde leero mbutabulinze. Of course ali mu kwebuzaabuza kuba agambye nti munnange nange simanyi abalumba wano Parliament sibategeera. Kaakati kyagezaako tugamba nti takyali nkyaji wano kubanga n'okuyingira gate olwo olunaku era ng'ennaku endala abantu babacekinga nnyo olaga wanaki oli bwayingira gate okuyingira wano mu kizimbe olwo nalwo olutalo ate okuyingira mu chambers. Abayingira mu chambers babaka ba Parliament bokka ne ba staff abali ku duty abali ku Hansard naki bokka be bayingira eyo. Kakati bano abayingira mu chambers agamba atya nti tabamanyi pozi nga naye agamba nti owaayi nange siri nkyaji wano kati ekyo nakyakyogere nti obuyinza bwange wano mu Parliament bulinawo bukoma. Waliwo abalala abatwala Parliament naye batamanyi ekyo nakyakyogere tukitegere.
Madam Speaker, this statement.
Give us the statement.
This statement, Madam Speaker, on abduction of Dr. Besigye from Nairobi, Kenya on November 16, 2024. Right Honorable Speaker, honorable members, I am presenting this statement in line with Rule 25 L and M 59 and 64. Right Honorable Speaker, Colonel Dr. Besigye, former Forum for Democratic Change President, four-time presidential candidate, and now one of the promoters of the People's Front for Freedom, was abducted from Nairobi, Kenya on November 16, 2024. He had traveled to Nairobi on the invitation of NUP Kenya political party leader and former Kenyan Justice Minister Martha Karua. Dr. Besigye was scheduled to speak at Martha Karua's book Against the Tide launch. He, together with Ajobe Dutare Kamuregeya, a senior PFF leader, was abducted from a riverside apartment in Eastland, where he was attending a brief meeting before proceeding for dinner for Karua's book launch guests. He was then driven across borders by his captors. His passports, national ID, wallet, and other belongings remained at Warid Hotel where he had been booked in. Dr. Besigye did not or was not made to undergo immigration protocols on the Kenyan or Ugandan immigration sites. News of his missing started circulating 3 days after his abduction on Tuesday, November 19th. Right Honorable Speaker and members, Dr. Besigye was then miraculously arraigned before a military disciplinary committee, commonly known as court martial, on Wednesday, November 20th. Charges of possession of 2 pistols, which were learned that day that is a monopoly of UPDF, were read to him and his co-accused. They also charged with holding meetings in Switzerland, Greece, and Nairobi for purposes of undermining the security of Uganda. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, the abduction of Dr. Besigye has been condemned widely by the UN, lawyers, human rights defenders, democracy-seeking organizations, and individuals. Even the Uganda Human Rights Commission has condemned this abduction and demanded for Besigye's immediate release. I call upon you, Madam Speaker, and the House to join the world in condemning this heinous crime of abduction. Condemned because there are laws, international and domestic, that govern extradition and deportation. The Ugandan, Kenyan, and international laws were all in this case not followed. Only criminals can do this. You may not be concerned with the Besigye, but be concerned with the state continuing to act criminally. I want to emphasize that point. You may not be concerned with the Besigye, but you should be concerned with the state continuing to act criminally. Madam Speaker, I raised the issue of the 36 PFF members that were abducted from Kisumu in this House. They were handcuffed and driven across borders in similar manner. The 3 women who were part of this group were not allowed to ease themselves for 14 hours. When they were finally allowed, it is male soldiers that were pulling their knickers and ordered them to urinate as they remained handcuffed. They were later charged with terrorism. Madam Speaker and members, we are concerned with the continuing human rights violations by the NRM government, including ministers working in jails and making people to confess to crimes they have not committed, and then getting the NRM chairman to pardon them. All these things concern us, and they should concern every MP. This parliament should also demand for an explanation from Kenya. Even Chris was abducted. I went to see him at Ginger Road. They had denied him simple things, including the slippers, that giant you see there. This parliament, Madam Speaker, should also demand for an explanation from Kenya. You know, he was representing us in finding out how the Honorable Nevanda died. They charged him with stealing body parts.
Is that a part of your statement?
No, I was reminding him to sit down and listen to the statement. It is not part of the statement.
Maybe you wanted to compliment
I am
on
sorry,
what?
Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker and members, we are concerned with the continuing human rights violations by the NRM government. This must stop. We demand for an explanation from government, Madam Speaker. This parliament should also demand for an explanation from Kenya, whether it still subscribed to the East African Community Brotherhood. The ministers of internal affairs, who heads immigration, foreign affairs, and defense, Madam Speaker, must be made to explain to this parliament this incident and to the country. Madam Speaker, I thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right Honourable Speaker,
You come. Let him first respond.
I am alive to the fact that the issue substantially raised by Honourable Ssemmujju Nganda is a matter before a court established through an Act of Parliament, the UPDF Act. What I can confirm on behalf of government is what is already in the public domain, that Colonel retired Dr. Besigye was arrested, produced in court, charged, and remanded to Luzira prison, and he will be availed back to court on the 2nd of December 2024. On the call for condemnation, I wish to persuade my honorable colleague that that may be too early, because the matter before court will be a subject of evidence, a subject of prosecution, and the outcome definitely will be known. It may be too early for us to condemn. But what I can also advise is that, honorable colleagues, let us accept to always play within the rules. Honorable Ssemmujju and myself, we are sportsmen. We always play within the rules. At times, you invite the referee to warn you verbally. At times, you are given a yellow card. But if you are an habitual offender, you are red carded. So let us advise fellow countrymen and women to always play within the rules. Because the question is, just like Balotelli scored against Manchester United and he pulled a t-shirt written on, why always me scoring against Manchester United? Why always you and not me and not her? Why always you? That must be a fundamental question. I beg to submit.
Which is really a very good thing. I hope it's not rendering lip service to it. But Honourable Speaker, in the House plenary, during the third session of the second meeting, particularly on Tuesday, 5th December 2023, the House debated and considered matters relating to a response by the leader of the opposition on the subject matter of alleged enforced disappearance of persons. And from that debate, the House took 4 resolutions, Right Honourable Speaker, to wit, that the House Committee on Human Rights and Defense, with that of Defense and Internal Affairs, investigates the violation of human rights in the various fishing communities across the country and report to the House. 2, that the Land Attorney General reports to the House in 30 days then on the listed political prisoners and their continued detention without trial. 3, that the Minister of Internal Affairs reports to Parliament on the progress of reported fresh investigations on the missing 18 persons, Right Honourable Speaker. And 4, that the Human Rights Commission will reinvestigate the matter of missing persons. Right Honourable Speaker, 2 issues from my procedure matter. 1, that on issue 2, government, by prerogative of the President, released some political prisoners. I will not go into the nature of condition thereof, because as a lawyer, that is a new precedent in our jurisprudence. But 3, the Minister of Internal Affairs was supposed to make a report because they committed that they are investigating the 18 missing persons. It is 26th December 2024, Right Honourable Speaker. There is no report on the missing persons. So November, Right Honourable Speaker, I beg your pardon. There is no report. But the persons are still missing, Right Honourable Speaker. The denial was debunked because I provided evidence of the existence and the abduction, Right Honourable Speaker. May we get your guidance where the government forgetted their former position and they are no longer the government, that they can seek answers from another entity, Right Honourable Speaker.
Government.
Right Honourable Speaker, we need to cross-check the record, first of all, to affirm the decision of the House, and if we come to the conclusion that there are those areas where we have not responded, we will call upon the respective sector ministers to respond. But I remember vividly this subject matter being debated time and again, and to the best of my knowledge, we almost came to a conclusive end of this subject matter. But we shall look at the record. If the 4 decisions were the decisions of the House, I am happy that under 2 and 3, you are saying some action has been taken. We must also applaud His Excellency the President, because upon conviction, he exercised the prerogative of mercy and granted the mercy to the convicts. So that is also something that we need to applaud him for that, because it is constitutional and he has exercised that right. So, Right Honourable Speaker, we will look through the record, but we deliberated on this subject matter, in my humble opinion, to its logical conclusion. Maybe if it is the House committees to report, then let them report on their findings.
Therefore, my honourable brother lost his record, and I'm surprised that he does not have a record of what happened. And I listed from debating the manner of release of the former prisoners, because I don't want him to saunter into matters of law and how they were convicted. But particularly on the missing 18, right, Honourable Speaker, you don't have to have a bigger memory to remember that actually they are still missing, and that there was commitment to report on their missing. Probably the minister will have to recap, and there should be a timeline in the immediacy for him to respond. It was the Minister of Internal Affairs who was supposed to report. Now that he's coming on Tuesday with a statement, right, Honourable Speaker, now that he's coming on Tuesday, may it please you that you order the Minister of Internal Affairs to come with both statements. Right, Honourable Speaker. This was a debate on the 5th of December, 2023. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Of baptism. I was reminded to a matter that rocked the media last week on the utterances by the President of Uganda Law Society describing the person of the DPP as with our genitalia. There are words I cannot say here for the record, not even to capture. He said, okay, he described the DPP with our genitalia and referring it to our ethnicity. He added that she is a pumpkin. Right, Honourable Speaker. Myself and all my colleagues from the region, from Karamoja, and all the people, and all the women.
It is not about a person from Karamoja. Every woman in this country.
Every woman has it. Right, Honourable Speaker. It is important that this Parliament pronounces itself before the practice of describing women with their genitalia becomes a normal in our country. It is important that this Parliament condemns it so that the Law Council take...
Honourable members, listen.
Right, Honourable Speaker. The members are saying they did not watch the audio. And they are saying it is rumors. The President of Uganda Law Society, in describing the person of the DPP,
I don't think you'd love your children out there to hear what was said. Honourable members.
Speaker.
On a procedure.
I'm on procedure matter, and he is a senior member of the House. He knows that when someone is on a procedural matter, you don't put an order. He is a senior member. Right, Honourable Speaker, let this House pronounce itself on this matter. The President of Uganda Law Society cannot be left to say anything he wishes concerning the person of the DPP or a woman in Uganda.
Honourable members, I am aware of the remarks that were said. I am aware of the remarks that were said by the President of the Law Society. The Law Society is established under the Act of Parliament. The Uganda Law Society under CAP 276, Part 4, establishes a council and prescribes its powers. This matter can be better dealt with by the council that is established under that act. However, we ought to respect each other. We ought to respect each other. The woman you are abusing today is either your mother, your wife, your daughter, your mother-in-law. So abusing a woman's private parts that you used to come out from is very bad. On next item.
The can of worms that's been opened. The government chief whip has come and said that the issue of political prisoners and missing persons and the like came to an end, I just wanted to remind him, not long ago, when the Honorable Balam Barugahara was sworn in, he asked for a retabling of that list. At that time I told him that list was presented to the Prime Minister, it's even in the Library of Parliament. He said, you bring again. I said, okay. He might not know how we operate. Let me get him another list. And he promised to give an update to this house. He should probably come and give an update to this house and tell us that, no, what I did was to go convince these people, just accept, and then you'll be free. And then he should also give us an update on the likes of John Bosco Chibalama, whom the Prime Minister considered and said he was arrested by the state. So government needs to know that this matter did not end, because you promised, through one of your ministers, Honorable Balam, to give an update to this house. We still want that update on the political prisoners and on the missing persons. So it has not ended, Honorable Boa. We are waiting for that update.
It will come, it will come. Yes, certain.
Item 4 on the order paper.